going a long way down. When I personally realized that I'll make this plan, and when I was working on this plan, I came to know that it's a very long journey going from upside to the downside. I just didn't I didn't come to the bottom in a few seconds. It took lots of time to take me to the surface. That means that what he's saying, that it is said that the deep, that how long, how big or how deep it is from the bottom. So people say that it is a 9 feet, but for me, when I personally experienced that these 9 feet were almost as comparable to the 90 feet, means that to come at the bottom it takes me almost too much time. So it was a long journey. This 9 feet seems to me 90 feet. And before I touched the bottom, my lungs were ready to burst. And as I was almost about to reach, as I was almost about to reach at the bottom, once I found that my lungs had overwhelmed. Overwhelmed means overfilled with the water, and they are just about to burst. They are about to crack. But when my feet hit the bottom, I summoned. Summoned means gathered, collected, gathered. I summoned all my strength and made what I thought was a great spring upwards. So once I touched the bottom, and what I did, once my feet touched the bottom, then I tried to gather all my strength, and with a big power, a big force, I came upwards. I jumped upwards. What happened after that? I imagined I would bob to the surface like a cork. I would come outside from the surface of the water. You know, the first is the layer of water, and inside the water is there, and at the last bottom there is a tiles. So he thought that I have reached at the surface. My head is above from the surface of the water, like a cork. Cork means, my dear students, the cap of any bottle. You see that there are many caps, like we drink water of Bisleri, we drink water of many Kinley. There are that we have plastic caps to cover the mouth of the bottle. So these caps, once you will take this cap and put it inside the water, it will definitely come upwards. So he was thinking that I'll come as same as the cork of any bottle comes upwards. Instead means apart from it, iske alawa, I came up slowly. I thought that I'll come very fastly, but it was not happened. I was come upwards very slowly. I opened my eyes and saw nothing. The writer is saying that I saw nothing. I came upwards, but very slowly. I didn't see anything. Once I opened my eyes, but water that had a dirty yellow thing, sorry, tying to it. Now here, once I opened my eyes, I saw only water that had a dirty yellow thing to it. Now, ting is means glance. Glance means the color. The water seems to me very yellowish in color. Grew panically. I was growing more panically. I reached up as if to grab a rope, and my hands clutched only at water. I was suffocating. So what I did, I came upwards just because of to grab a rope. That you have seen that in many swimming pools, where the professional swimming pools, you have seen that there are many ropes upwards. They were just hanging upwards on the swimming pool, above the surface of the swimming pool. And I was just came to upwards just to have a grab of the rope, as well as to touch, and also, but once I tried to grab my hand, try to grab the rope, but I couldn't grab anything except water. I clutched the only water. Clutch means hold or grab. I was suffocating. Suffocating means out of breath. I was so tired. It was so hard to take me breathe, because once I taking the breath, the water is going inside me. So I was panic. I was so suffocated. I tried to yell, but no sound came out. Then my eyes and nose came out of the water, but not my mouth. And what I said, that what I found, that I was trying to scream. I was trying to, whenever I opened my eyes, when I saw the water, I was trying to scream, but no one can hear me, only water. And that once I tried to jump upwards, so what I did, I only take myself, my nose and my eyes. I could only grab or try to strengthen my, once I strengthen my all energy to, or my force, and I jump upwards, so I could only put out my nose as well as my eyes. I couldn't take out my mouth as well. Not. I flailed at the surface of the water, moved without control. Moved without control. So I flailed at the surface of the water, swallowed and choked. Now, what I said, I just, as I was, I was seemingly, I was thinking that I'm out of the water, so I just took some breathe. And what I did, I, instead of taking the breathe, I choked, I swallowed lots of water, and my throat was totally choked. Choked means that suffocated, that somebody had pushed my throat very harder, so I was not able to leave or inhale or exhale the breathe. So I was in this condition. I tried to bring my legs up, as the writer is saying that he was trying, that this was the time where he was having a very panicful experience. He was almost about to die. He was suffocating. He was not out of breath. And I tried to bring my legs up, but they hung as dead weights. And what he was saying, he thought that I'll move my legs upwards, but once I tried to move my legs, they looks like they are so heavy, they are so full of weights, that lots of weights have been bounded or have been fastened with it, so I cannot have dare or have power to move them. It looks so heavy, paralyzed and reached, and they are looking so disabled, they are looking so stable, so hard. Paralyzed, like these feet were seemingly him that they are paralyzed, and reached means so hard. A great force was pulling me under, and I don't know from where a force was there, a power was there, which is taking me inside, which is grabbing me inside the water. I screamed, but only the water heard me. Now here, very important line, very wonderful line, that inside the water, the writer is saying that I screamed a lot to help me, to ask for help, but only the water can hear me. I had started on the long journey back to the bottom of the pool. So the writer is saying I had started on the long journey back to the bottom of the pool, and now again, this is the again time when I was trying to go downside, and which is so long, which is so big and long journey for me, because as per the people indication that this is only 9 feet, but I know that I personally examined that this 9 feet is not truth. Actually the length is almost 90 feet, because it takes me lots of time to reach at the bottom. I struck at the water as I went down. Struck means I was hit, I was stuck, I was got stuck inside the water, expanding my strength as one is in the nightmare fights an irresistible force. Now here, I struck in the water. I was not able to move here and there, expanding. Now here, expanding means gathering. I was trying to gather my strength as one in a nightmare fights, and this irresistible force had lost my all the breath. Now here, you have seen such type of experience. He is trying to tell us that what type of experience he was having at that point. He was saying that you have been through in many misadventures full of nightmares. Nightmares means bad dreams. In that bad dreams, You are trying to fight with an object which is so powerful. Irresistible force means which has immense force, and that is a supernatural power. Like in whenever any ghost or any scary dreams you have been through, that you are trying to fight with it, but you are not able to fight, you are not able to punch because you are not able to speak. So it is a such type of experience I was having, and that experience had lost my breath, my lungs, and now my there was a pain starting in my lungs. My head throbbed. My head throbbed means it also getting pain, it also stuck. I was getting dizzy, and now I was getting dizzy means I was just sleeping inside the water. My lungs started working, not they are just out of work, they are not working. Even they are having a very immense pain, and my head was throbbed, my head was stuck, as well as I was feeling sleepy. But I remember the strategy, but I still remember the strategy, how I'll come outside from this pool. I'll go downside at the bottom, strengthen my power, and I'll jump upwards. Now, I would spring from the bottom of the pool and come like a cork to the surface. Now, here, this is my planning, this is my strategy that once I'll go to the bottom, I'll spring upwards and I'll come outside from the surface as the cork comes. I would lie flat on the water, strike out with my arms, and thrash with my legs. Then I would get to the edge of the pool and be safe. Now, here, this was his strategy, that once I'll come at the bottom, once I'll come at the surface of the water, I'll lie flat without any movement. I will just lie flat on the surface of the water, strike out with my arms, like I'll just move my arms inside the water, as well as thrash my legs, like I'll just thrash my legs like in this way. And after doing this thing, then I'll get to the edge of the pool and be safe. And I'll while doing these things, I'll easily come to the edge of the pool and be safe. I went down endlessly, and this bottom was endlessly. It was not trying to be stopped. I opened my eyes, nothing but water with a yellow glow. I just opened my eyes. I found that there was a yellow color of water I could observe. Dark water that one could not see through. And the water was so dark that no one can see proper in this time. And then chill, struck terror seized me. Now, here, chill means only, struck means complete. Now, very important. This word will be repeated 2-3 times. Struck in the next few paragraphs. The struck means complete terror seized me, and now once I was feeling that only darkness is there, my lungs were out of work, I could not see properly, my mind is not working. I also feeling slippery, and then the terror has almost seized my all the parts of my body as well as my mind. Terror that knows no understanding, and I know that what type of terror I had been through. I had come inside it. Now, I was inside the water, but now I'm not only inside the water, but also I'm inside the terror. The terror has totally taken inside me. I terror that knows no control, terror that no one can understand who has not experienced it. And the writer is saying that I cannot make people understand, because until unless they not experience what type of terror I had been through, that only people can understand what type of terror I'm talking about, if he or she has been gone through such type of terror in his or her life. Only those person can understand. I was shrinking underwater. Shrinking means dubna. I was paralyzed underwater, stiff, wreathed with fear. And now I was paralyzed inside the water, means I was not able to move. my control was not on my legs as well as my hands. I was not I was these all parts of my body were out of work. And I was paralyzed. Stiff means hard, wrist means also hard with fear. I become so harder and harder with fear. Even the screams in my throat were frozen. And whenever I'm trying to scream, whenever I'm trying to cry, my it seems that my throat has been frozen. Only my heart and the pounding in my head said that I was still alive. And how I come to know that I'm still alive? Because the heartbeat as well as the throbbing inside my mind that struck me inside the mind, that tells me, that giving me indication that I'm still in existence, I'm still alive. And then, in the midst of the terror, came a touch of reason. Reason means surface, the bottom. While I was in this panicful situation, in this terrorful situation, I found a bottom. I must remember to jump when I hit the bottom. A last, I felt that the tiles under me. My toes reached out as if to grab them. I jumped with everything I had. So finally, I had the bottom. I just remember the plan, the strategy. Once I'll touch the bottom, I'll spring upwards, and I just gathered my all the strength. I jumped upwards, and what happened after that? But the jump made no difference. The water was still around me. I tried to jump, but what I found that there was nothing I got achieved by this jump, by this spring, because what I found that I am still surrounded by the water. A mass of yellow water held me. A big yellowish water held me. Struck terror took an even deeper hold on me, and now the complete terror is trying to grab me very tightly. The terror has its hands, and by his hands, he is trying to squeeze me. The terror is trying to squeeze me, trying to take me in his grip so tightly. Like a great charge of electricity. I shook and trembled. Trembled means shivering, vibrating. I was just started. I shook. I moved as well as I was shivering with fright. Fright means fear. My arms would not move. My legs would not move. I tried to call for help, to call for mother. Nothing happened. And while I was inside the water, what I was found that my hands were not moving, my legs were not moving. Even whenever I try to call for help, even my mother as well as, so nothing happened. Nothing can be done, because I was inside the water. I was losing my consciousness. I was losing my patience. I was losing my breath. I was losing my life almost. Now and then, strangely, there was light. I was coming out of the awful yellow water. Awful means very dirty, very terrorful, very trauma type of, as he was being traumatized by the this experience. So he is saying that this water, this yellow water, is so awful, so dirty, so pathetic. At least my nose was almost out too. And now finally he found, while he was almost, he had given up, he had lost everything, then suddenly he found that there was a light was sparkling, as well as he found that he was coming outside from the water. His eyes and his mouth, his everything was, nose was almost out of water too. I started down a third time. I sucked for air and got water. The yellowish light was going out. And once I released that my eyes and my nose, my mouth were out of the water, I sucked some air. And again, I was going backside. Then all efforts, the yellowish light was going out, and this light was coming outside, going outside. Then all efforts ceased. Ceased means blocked. I relaxed. Even my legs felt limp. Limp means handicap. My legs, as by this terrorful experience, I found that my legs were become limp. Limp means disabled. They are become handicapped, and a blackness swept over my brain. Blackness means a darkness type of swept over my brain. Everything was I was feeling like now my mind is not able to see, my senses are not able to see the outer world, or my eyes was not able to see this ability of see something, that I was deprived everything. Only a darkness was just surrounded me from my whole body. It whipped out fear, and this terror, this experience, that my I was out of breath, as I was almost losing my consciousness. I was almost about I was at the edge of death. Then what happened? This experience, the death experience, had whipped out, had removed all the fears from my mind. It whipped out the terror. There was no more panic, and now I'm feeling relaxed. I was going out, I was going downside, I was just become unconsciousness. Everything is darkness. So I thought that now my time has come, the time to meet the God, time to reach at the heaven. So that type of experience I was. So I was out of all the fear, I was out of all the terror. There was no more panic. It was quiet and peaceful, and now I was feeling relaxed. I was feeling so peaceful, nothing to be afraid of, and there was no need to afraid from this thing. This is nice to be drowsy, and this is very nice to be drowsy. Drowsy means dubna, going downwards to go to sleep, and it was feeling so nice that I am going for sleep and not sleep. The sleep is no need to jump, too tired to jump. It's nice to be carried gently, to float along in space. And now there is no need to jump, there is no need to move the hands and arms, no need to take breathe inside the water. I was just sleeping, I was just trying to wonder, I was just feeling that I am wandering in the space. Tender arms around me. I found that somebody had taken me in his hands, and these hands were so tender. Tender means so soft. Tender arms like mothers, and these arms were looking like me, that my mothers had hold me. Now I must go to sleep, and now this time that I have to depart this world. I'm at the mouth of death. I crossed to oblivion, and the curtain of life fell. And now here, oblivion means forgetfulness. Now I forget everything. I crossed each and everything to be forgotten. I forget everything, and now the curtain means the cloth of my life has been disclosed. Now you have seen that of whenever any drama, whenever any presentation which is given by the artist, when they got end up, that the curtain fell down by the performance, and then after the claps start. Now it's a same thing that Douglas is saying, that the curtain of my life is almost fall. The next I remember, I was lying on my stomach beside the pool, vomiting. And as next what I experienced that I'm out of the water pool, and I was lying on the floor, and I was vomiting, and I was lying on the stomach beside, and vomiting. The chap that threw me in was saying, and the chap means the boy who threw me in this water, who threw me in this pool. And what he was saying, but I was only fooling. Someone said that he said that I was just making a fool on him. I was just joking. I was just doing some nonsense activity. Yes, but I was. It is just a part of joke. But the someone had said that the kid nearly died. The who is kid here, my dear students? Yes, Douglas. The Douglas is almost about to die. But all right now, let's carry him to the locker room. And now they have taken me to the locker room where I got the relax. Several hours later, after 3 4 hours, what happened? I walked home, and now I reached at my home. I was weak and trembling. While I was going to my home, I was so weak, I was trembling still. I reached in my home, I was still trembling. Trembling means shivering. I shook and carried when I lay on my bed. So what he's saying, whenever I go to bed, I shook and cried whenever I lay on my bed. I couldn't eat that night. I couldn't eat. Means that the fear, due to the high fear, due to the traumatized, I could not eat anything. For days, a haunting fear was in my heart, and for many days, I was in this pressure of this fear. The slightest exertion upset me. The small movement had made me upset, making me wobbly in the knees and sick to my stomach. And now, here, a wobbly means, my dear students, shivering. That a kind of a shivering start from my knees to my head or to my stomach. I never went back to the pool, and after that of period of time, I ever never went to the pool. I feared water. I avoided it whenever I could, and I started avoiding the water whenever I go through. I pass through any water, lake, any sea, or any side of water. I just ignore it. A few years later, when I came to know the water of the Cascades. Now here the Cascade is also a place in the America. So after a few year period of time, I came cross with the water of Cascades. I wanted to get into them, and whenever I did, whether I was wading the Toiton or bumping river or bathing in the warm lake of the Got Rocks, the terror that has seized me in the pool would come back. Now here, as after a few years, I just come across at Cascades. Cascade is a place where many water bodies are there, in a bodies, in a form of river, in a form of lake, in a form of sea, a seashore. So whenever I go through with any body of water, the scare, the traumatized situation which I had been already been through, that again seized me, again gave me a such type of grip inside. I feeling so trembling, I was feeling so shivering, because I started remembering those days where I was almost about to die. It would take possession of me completely. Possession means control. This fear controlled me from properly control me. My legs would become paralyzed, and whenever I thought about this old incident, my legs become paralyzed. Ice horror would grab my heart, and my heart start becoming so frozen, and my heartbeats is started working so highly. So that's type of experience I feel whenever I see any water body. This handicap stayed with me as the years rolled by. This handicap means this experience, this difficulty. Handicap means this difficulty stayed with me for a long period of times as the years rolled by. As the real passed away, that period of time, the difficulty always with me. In canoes, canoes means on many lakes, fishing for landlocked salmon. Now here, canoes means small boats where only a one person can sit. There is a space of one person. Whenever I travel, or I have a voyage, I have a journey through the canoes for having for the main lakes. Main lakes, this is the name of the lakes, main. And whenever I just have a boating for the fishing, and landlocked salmon. Landlocked means surrounded. Whenever I'm surrounded by the salmon, salmon is a name of or a species of fish. So whenever I go for fishing, especially the fish is salmon in the lake of Maine, what I feel that he is saying about that whenever I go through by any water body for different purpose, bass fishing in New Hampshire, trout fishing on the Dutchess and Metolius in Oregon. Now here, I am underlining that these are the fishes: bass, trout, and Metolius. These are the fishes. Whenever I go for fishing, whenever I went for the catching the fish in different location, in different lakes, like in the New Hampshire, Dutchess, Oregon. These are the fishes for salmon on the Columbia. At Bumping Lake in the Cascades, or in the